All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Lunch and Learn today. My name is Jeremy. I will be leading our call today. I'm from the training team. As I know most of our regulars have probably seen me lead these multiple times, so it will be me again today. Just a couple things. Don't forget to ask questions in the Q&A. Happy to discuss anything if you have any questions, and we can go ahead and talk about those. But in the meantime, let me go through and point out a couple of our main topics of discussion that we typically point out at the starts of these. Um, so first of all, the YouTube channel. Check out our YouTube channel. We've got lots of content that we try to put up there as often as possible to kind of keep track of things and to give you guys a lot of great content and things to check out, videos to watch, especially with new updates in versions, steps, and things. So we've got some things planned to come out this week. So you'll definitely be seeing videos there if you follow our YouTube channel, as well as all our Lunch and Learns that go up there when we're done with those. We've got the Solutions Marketplace, great place to check out a lot of great applications, our accelerators and things to kind of check out maybe some things worthwhile or inspiring to you and maybe worth checking out. We can also check out our events, decisions.com/events. A lot of great stuff going on in there with webinars and things that you can check out. So if you're curious about any of those kinds of things, decisions.com/events, great place to go to check information out. We've got our Submerse, which is coming up next week. So starting on Monday next week, going over a dog training project that we've built that we're excited to show off there. We've got a webinar coming up on May 15th, as well as our now roadmap review. If you're held every other Tuesday, if you're curious about anything coming up in decisions. So with that in mind, we'll go ahead and I can start kind of going through some things, but if you have questions, please feel free to type them up in the Q&A, and I'd be happy to take a look at each of those things. All right, and we actually do have a question right away, so we can take a look at that. All right, first question for today comes from Justin, and our question is there a way to make a pie chart report that counts the number of each state for a case entity and have each state be a specific color regardless of if each state is present or not? I'll let you chat too if you have anything to add at any point, Justin, further questions or clarifications. Let's see if I think I have some case entities here I can demo with. And open up a report here. Anything in these? We're going to make them. I do have something here. Okay, so if we're just talking about making a pie chart, Um, so we do have like in this example, I only have one thing created. I can make more if we need to try to show more things here. But I do have a case entity here that's got some properties, whatever. But one of the data fields, if you use your case entity as a data source, should be the state, and it'll demonstrate whatever state that case entity is in. So, if I open this up, why did that pop up on another screen? I just open this and I go to that example here. I have a couple things, states in this, just basic ones to represent some options here that we have. So started, in progress, and completed. I only have one item that's just in the started state because I haven't actually done anything with it. But it does demonstrate the state. And so if I had multiple things, you can add anything with a view in your reports. as long as it's grouped. So if I have this grouped by the state, you'll notice I can now add charts here. And so if I want to make a pie chart, make this my case states pie chart, whatever. Um, the series will be based on the state count. And then, you can mess with a lot of the settings and things on this, but from there, it'll actually just make your pie chart. And then all of it will be based on the state. So you can adjust the colors if you want. If you want to set the colors to be specific things, you can easily do that to set your colors in whatever ways you want it. But otherwise, it does, at least unless I'm misunderstanding something that you're asking here. This pie chart here is going to show the count of everything state. The color is going to be completely based on which state, regardless of whatever it is. Um, and so I'll see, at the moment, right, I got one item in here in the started state. Um,
Yeah,
so unless you
so
have anything further.
my issue is that I have the pie chart. I've selected like a base colors. However, if the for instance, I have like started and ended, and I want that to be red green. But if there are no projects that are started and they're all in the end state, then the end state becomes red instead of green. And so I'm trying to figure out if there's a way to specify a color for a state instead of having it
Oh,
just go in like the order, if that makes
I
sense.
understand what you mean. Yeah, I see. So using the colors that you're doing, it's just automatically setting, green to whatever is the first one. And if it's only ended, it's only going to be green.
Correct.
I understand now. Okay, that makes sense. I've never messed around with these, so let me see kind of what we've got here. So let's say it was something like this. And this. Now it's in a completed state, and my chart is not going to show. I wonder if that's just, I think it's this. If you use custom colors on the pie chart, the user-defined colors provide a name and a color, and it'll actually read the state. It'll read that state to check if the state is this name, and if it is, it makes it that color. So I don't know if you noticed when I was first doing that, when I first opened it up, because I called this ended, but that's not actually the name of my state, it came out as blue, which is neither the green nor the red that I had set. It was just one of the default colors. And so this user-defined color, if I use custom colors on my pie chart, is going to be based off of that state name, whatever it's being grouped off of. So now that I have this thing in the completed state, it's still red, even though my first one is green, because it's reading completed. If I were to go back and I were to change this state back to be in the started state, and then reopen this, my pie chart is now green because it reads the state that the pie chart is marking it, and then
That makes
recognizes
sense.
that as green. So it's in the properties when you're setting up the pie chart, especially if you use the views in a report like this. User defined or use custom colors, and then you can add your colors here. And again, you just pick the name, make sure it matches your state, and then whatever color you want to go with it. Cool question. I've never messed with colors like that, so um, nice to dip my toes into something that I've never seen. and also nice and simple. All right, good. Let's move on because we do have another question. It looks like this, I'm guessing this is actually related to one of our trainings, but I can just bring it up real quick. Um, Ellie, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, has a question about being new to decisions. And so I'm new to decisions. Can you please help to turn string to Boolean using the string to Bool converter flow found on the end step? Change the input string variable into a Boolean value. So,
Hello.
hello.
Hello. How are you?
Good,
Sorry.
good.
Yes. I tried to do the exercise and I tried everything, but it did not work. So please, can you just help?
Sure, yeah. So, um, what you're referring to is, I believe it's this one, or is it the other one? Let me use this.
I should create the output data as Boolean.
No, I'm just setting it up real quick so that it
Yeah.
matches what I
Okay.
believe you have. So, if I'm remembering, I don't unfortunately have the exact thing at the moment open for me. Um, but it should look something like this. You can ignore all this extra stuff. I just had another flow that I
Yes.
had that in it as
Right.
well. It should just be nice and blank like this. But the idea here is you have your end step that has some kind of input that's expecting a Boolean value. And then in your process, let me add this too, because
No,
this
sorry.
is not
The
there.
input, yes, it's string, right?
Yes.
Okay.
So you have an input that's a string, and then on your red end step, you have an output that's a Boolean. So if the input is coming in as a string, and we're assuming that these strings is spelling out the word true or spelling out the word false in this scenario. If your data is coming in as a string, but you want it to go in as a Boolean, if I just try to connect it with flow data, it's not going to match, right? If I try to connect it right away, it's not going to match up because this is a string and it's expecting a Boolean. So we can't just match that, but that's what we have converters for. And so in a lot of cases in decisions, we have these converters. Some of them are automatic. You can also build your own if you plan to build your own, but we have a number of basic ones, which is exactly what you need in your scenario here that allow us to just convert a value of one type to the value that it's expecting. And so in this case, it's expecting a Boolean. So it's going to give us a bunch of converters that are predetermined to convert something into a Boolean. And there's a lot of options here, but one of the ones that we're looking for is convert string to Boolean. Since we know that
Okay.
our input is coming in as a string, we want it to convert it to a Boolean value. We can pick that converter. Once I pick that, you'll get a new input down here that says, okay, now what is the string that I want to convert to a Boolean value? And then here I
Okay.
can go ahead and pick from my flow data and pick my input string.
String.
And now
Okay.
from there, it should say, hey, take that input string, convert it into a Boolean value, and it should run. And I can just demonstrate that real quick. If I type, for example, in my debugger, if my input string says the word false and I start debugging it, if I look at the output here, it'll change that value to the Boolean version of false. That way, if my data needs to be in a Boolean data type, it can read that properly.
Okay. Thank you so much for your
Yep,
support. Thank you
of
so
course, no
much.
problem. All right. Oh, I was just about to ask if anyone has any additional questions, and Manal just posted a question, so we will go to that next. All right. So let me read it out loud, and Manal, you can add more if you have anything. Hello, is there a way to display data from a data repeater on the report? For example, if I have 15 lines in one data repeater, is there a way to show each record and allow the user to edit or update each record from the data repeater on the report? Okay, so I guess I have a couple questions on this. With regards to the your lines on the data repeater, do these lines like correspond to some data type that you're saving, or what are you doing with the data from the data repeater to get it on the report?
So I'm just saving it on the form and then populating it But like what I want, so for example, I have a data repeater and I have users putting in like 18 lines. You can keep adding data, data, data.
Mhm.
But I have a report where I'm trying to display it. But what they want to see each line of that record, like each line that they added to that particular data repeater. So I'm just having trouble because I try to do the merge list to string and then all that stuff, but it's not working how I want it. It's just to show, like, I just want to figure out a way to show the lines on data repeater on the report, if there is a way.
Hmm.
And I do have like a data structure. I created simple data structure using that. The data repeater works great. It's just I'm having really a lot of difficulty showing the data on the report.
Got it. Okay. And is this like all on like one page, like where you're seeing it at the same time, or is it like someone submits the form and then they go to a separate page afterwards to see the report?
And it's just on one form, and then once they submit it, then they go on a separate dashboard. Yes.
Okay, got
Mhm.
it. Hmm. Okay. Well, the one thing for the last part, um, you are able to do like editing and things on reports, with like adding abilities to edit and things like that. That's one thing you can definitely do.
Mhm.
And I think that would definitely just come from using those kind of settings, there to add that. That's unrelated to necessarily like adding all the lines and getting the lines into the report. Um, like if the problem is getting all the lines in the report, then obviously
Mhm.
you won't be able to do that afterwards. That's just I think an easy part of that. To
Yeah,
mess
because
with
right
that.
now what's happening, it just shows the first record, like whatever the first line they add or the most newest line they add to the data repeater, it just shows up on the report, but it doesn't show everything else.
Right. I don't know if I do. Oh, I do have one. I have a data repeater that I worked with you about some time ago. I don't know what I put that on though. Let me open up the form. Hmm, So, add remove button. And what do you do? So, how are you saving the data, I guess? You said you're using a simple data structure, like a database structure?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay. So then
Mhm.
after they submit it, are you saving each data structure or just the first one that gets sent out here?
I have one data structure, and that's where all the records are saved. But just for that data repeater. But then I have a flow execution extension data structure I know we are not supposed to use in future, but I have one data structure, and then I'm saving that my data repeater data structure in that big data structure.
Okay. Yep, it's covered. Okay.
Yeah, and I just go into my data repeater and map those fields from that data structure.
Right.
Mhm.
And then save them from there. Because like it comes out as a list, right? You're having a whole list of them. How are you saving that list of your data structure?
I have it on the big data structure, so I'm just like mapping them from there, the list. Like has an output, right? Is it input? That's what you're saying?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I meant yeah, like because it outputs like the
Mm-hmm.
whole list of all the items from your data repeater. Right. I don't know. I didn't know why I was hovering over that. But that I can ignore. No. This, right? It comes out as a list of whatever your data structure is. And then you're taking that and you're saving it.
Yes, into my main data structure. That is correct. Because that's where I have all the sub data structures. So I have like 8 data repeaters, and then I have one big main data structure where I have all the other stuff from the form and everything else.
Mhm. And is the report that you're reporting on the big data structure that has all the lists inside it?
I'm using the small one, just the
Okay,
data.
so you are
Yes.
doing like
Hmm.
whatever this is outputting.
Yes. Hmm.
Got it.
Sorry for being
No,
confusing.
you're fine. You're fine. I'm just trying to make sure I got my head wrapped around
Hmm.
how this works. It might so like if you're going into like a save like a save entities or something that has your like all your big structure. I don't have a good example for this, but let's say this is my your like
Hmm.
main structure, and if I build data on it, it has a field for a list of these,
Hmm.
right? That's what you're saying you're doing, is you're taking it and
Yes.
passing it into that.
Hmm.
Got it.
The only
Okay,
difference is I have a process folder where everything is getting saved.
right.
And it's
Um,
getting saved perfectly fine and everything. It's just like I don't know how to display it on the report. It's like that thing is just
got it. So even if you're saving all of this like list of all these things, the report's not showing all of them. But if you
mm-mm.
like go and you look at the data, like manually open up and look at the data, you see everything.
Yes. Like if I go and view form, it has all the lines of data that I put in that data repeater. If it is more like a support issue, I could just submit a ticket, but I was just curious. It's like if there's any way.
Yeah, I'm just, well, I'm
Mhm.
maybe me personally. I don't know if Gregory, if you're listening, if you have any thought that sticks out. Me personally, I'm having just a little trouble thinking about wondering if it's just where the way it's getting saved is maybe why I wouldn't report on it.
So it's not getting saved correctly. You can't, wait a minute, let me make sure I'm understanding this. So they're making edits to it inside of the form. It's passing out all of the structures, including the edits, to a save entities, but that save entities is not letting you report on it at all, or it's not recording the changes.
So it is saving it fine. It's just like whenever I bring that, so for example, I used a car data structure, right?
Mhm.
That's my data structure for the data repeater. I go in the report and I use that data structure. It just shows me the first line of the record, the most recent one, rather than showing me all the lines. Whatever the most current one that they edit, the user edit. But then when I go into the process folder and I look at it, it shows me everything. Like the whole list is coming up, but I think it's having a difficulty like showing me every single record. Is it supposed to show like from the data repeater every single line?
Every single line that gets saved, it should show. If you have any sort of
Yeah.
save entities and it's saving all of the
Hmm.
ones that you're outputting, not just the first one, right? If you're
Hmm.
saving all of them, it should show all of them inside of that report, or at least up to 50 on the preview. You shouldn't be restricted to just one. You didn't set the report row preview to, you see the limit preview rows. It's not just one, is it?
It's yeah, I put it to 150. The only thing I did do is I try to do the merge list to string because in the report it doesn't let me output a list.
That shouldn't affect how many rows you see.
Gotcha. So is this like the example that you're showing? Is it a data repeater?
No, this is just a case entity that I had already
Okay.
saved with that stuff.
Yeah, the data repeater itself is not a data structure. The data repeater is a way to display different types of data structures inside of decisions, those that are database saved and those that are not. It's about the database saving process that determines what you can report on it, not what gets
Yeah.
passed into the data repeater.
Gotcha. So I
Yeah,
could be having an
that's why
issue.
to me it
Mhm.
sounded like something about the way that the data was being saved, not necessarily the data repeater. But if you're saying it's all showing up in your process folder, but not on the report, that's what makes me wonder
How many
what else is
process
happening here.
folders do you have?
I have two, one for save for later and one for submit.
So you have two different cases. What kind of data structure is this?
For the data repeater or the main one?
Wait a minute. This is a nested structure?
Yes.
Wait a minute. Are you reporting on the nested structure or on the main structure?
I was doing it on the nested one first.
And that
But
one's not updating.
yeah, but if I do the main one, it will not show me the list because it's a list. On version 8, it doesn't show you if you have like saved a data subdata structure and a main data structure has a list, it doesn't come up on the
Yeah.
report.
No, that's expected. That's still a thing. So this is a nested structure, and you're passing the nested structure into the data repeater, right?
Yes.
Are you doing the save entities on the main structure or the nested structure?
I'm doing it on the main structure.
There might be a mapping issue there. I'm gonna guess that.
Okay.
I'm gonna guess what might be happening is it's saving the main structure, and it is mapping something to that nested structure. But whatever that nested structure is, I'm wondering if that mapping needs to be explicitly stated, or perhaps to save entities on just the nested structure.
That's what I was thinking. I was wondering if you save it to the main structure, it may I don't think it necessarily saves all of those entities on the nested one as well. I think it just saves it on the big one. So you
Okay,
would also need to individually make sure that you save it to your nested structure so that that's also stored there, because that's what the reporting is trying to grab.
Gotcha. And then do you recommend like just doing a save entity step and just get my sub data structure and save it and build array and just map it each line with it, right?
You don't even need to use build array. If you're using save entities, it'll take a list of your nested structure, right? So you can just use two. You can use the save entities for the main structure and a save entities for the nested structure right after it.
Okay.
Yeah, and because it will accept a list of that nested structure, there's no reason to, build array on it. You just,
Like
yeah.
save entities, there's a checkbox for save multiple entities, and now
Okay.
it's expecting a list of whatever that entity is. So then I can easily just grab it from my flow data and grab that.
Gotcha.
output.
Let me see, because for me, it doesn't give me that option to do the save multiple entities, but it is doing a list either way, so it will be okay. Okay, I'll try that and then see if I can get it to make that work. Thank you so much. Appreciate both of your helps.
No problem. All right. At the moment, that is all the questions we have. Anything else? Any last chance anyone to ask any question? All right. All right. Well then, let's go ahead and we can end a little bit early for today. Thank you all for joining. We will still continue the rest of this week. We've got Gregory leading the charge on Wednesday and Thursday. So if you have questions, either send them to us ahead of time or come and join this and ask away, and we'll be happy to help. Thank you all for joining, and we'll see you next time. Have a great day, everybody.